What if the richest families in history held secret playbooks not taught in schools? Welcome to Hidden History of Wealth Building, where we uncover elite strategies and show how you can use them for real-world financial planning. Why it matters. These hidden methods helped aristocrats and bankers turn their fortunes into dynasties. Today, they could help you build lasting wealth. Part 1, The Roman Patronage Secret, How the Rich Bought Influence Without Paying Taxes. Let's rewind to ancient Rome. Picture marble streets, togas, and chariots. But behind the glamour was a clever financial playbook. Wealthy elites called patricians didn't just stash their gold. They invested in their image. How? Through a system called euergetism. They paid out of pocket to build public baths, amphitheaters, aqueducts, monuments that everyone used. But this wasn't charity, it was strategy. By funding these gifts to the city, they gained enormous social capital. Their names were etched into stone, people admired them, politicians welcomed them. And here's the kicker, these acts weren't taxed. In fact, they often earned legal protections, political favors, or honorary titles. Modern parallel, strategic giving. Fast forward to 2025, and not much has changed. Today's elites still fund foundations, libraries, scholarships, even entire hospitals. But like in Rome, it's often more about control and image than pure generosity. Examples: Bill Gates didn't just donate to global health. His foundation controls how billions are spent. The Walton family, Walmart, uses their charitable arm to influence education policy. Many billionaires donate appreciated stocks instead of cash, avoiding capital gains and claiming full deduction value. Your takeaway: strategic giving, smart taxes. So what can the average American learn from Rome's elites? 1. Use donor-advised funds, DAFs. These are like mini charities you control. You donate money or appreciated assets like stocks. Get an immediate tax deduction. Let the money grow tax-free, then recommend grants to any nonprofit later. Real-life example: Jake, a graphic designer, earns $120K a year. He donates $5K into a DAF in 2025, deducts it from taxes, then sends it to his old community college later. Bonus: he gets a say in how it's used and looks good doing it. 2. Stack giving with timing. Bunch donations in one tax year to exceed the standard deduction, then skip next year. It's legal and strategic. 3. Visibility plus influence. Offer to sponsor community events, youth programs, or local shelters. Ask for name acknowledgement. It may sound self-promoting, but in many cities this opens business deals, referrals, and trust. Just like the Roman elite, you can use generosity to reduce taxes, build your brand, expand your network, leave a legacy. It's not about being fake, it's about being strategic. Because in both Rome and modern America, giving is never just giving. Part 2, Banking like the Rothschilds, Secrets of a 5-Country Financial Empire. Let's step into the shadowy halls of 18th century Europe. The year is 1798. A Jewish banker named Mayer Amschel Rothschild sets up shop in Frankfurt. But he doesn't stop there. He sends his 5 sons to 5 financial capitals: London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and stays in Frankfurt himself. What they build is more than a bank. It's a financial intelligence network. And during the Napoleonic Wars, this network becomes a weapon. They used couriers, carrier pigeons, even coded letters to move money and messages faster than governments could. By the time Napoleon lost at Waterloo, the Rothschilds knew before the British government and placed huge market bets accordingly. Some say they made millions overnight. Others say they orchestrated the panic. The Rothschild playbook. Key strategies: 1. Diversify across borders. By spreading their wealth over multiple countries, they insulated themselves from war, taxes, and political collapse. 2. Leverage information. They knew that whoever gets the news first wins. This wasn't illegal, it was simply faster and smarter. 3. Invest long-term in infrastructure. The Rothschilds weren't day trading. They funded railroads, mining, and banking systems, assets that powered empires for generations. Your Rothschild-inspired wealth moves. You might not run a European empire, but here's how to apply these timeless principles. 1. Open foreign investment accounts. Why? It protects against domestic instability and gives access to growing markets. Example: U.S. investors can use platforms like interactive brokers to buy foreign ETFs or bonds in countries like Canada, Singapore, or Switzerland. Pro tip: look for politically stable, economically diverse nations. 2. Master the information advantage. Knowledge is a currency. Subscribe to financial newsletters that track macro trends like Ray Dalio or Lynn Alden. Use tools like Google Alerts or Seeking Alpha to track sectors or companies. Pay attention to policy shifts, new tariffs, green energy subsidies, tech bans. Real-life move. In 2023, those who noticed China's tech restrictions early moved money to Indian and Brazilian tech funds and saw massive gains. 3. Balance stocks with tangibles. Rothschilds loved infrastructure. Today, that might mean real estate, rental properties, rates. Private equity, invest in small businesses, franchises. Gold or crypto, not for hype but for hedging risk. Jake's story again. He moved 20% of his IRA into global infrastructure ETFs and bought a local laundromat with cash flow. It wasn't sexy, but it beat the S&P in 2024. The Rothschilds didn't just hold money, they moved it like generals commanding armies. They understood that wealth isn't safe unless it's in motion, diverse, and informed. You don't need billions to play there. Part 3. Infinite banking. How to be your own bank like the elites do. Picture this: instead of borrowing from a bank, you borrow from yourself. No applications, no credit checks, no banker telling you not approved. Sounds futuristic. It's not. It's called infinite banking, and it's been around since the 1980s, quietly used by the wealthy and increasingly the informed middle class. What is it really? Infinite banking uses a specific type of whole life insurance policy, but not just any. It has to be participating. You get annual dividends. Mutual, the company is owned by policyholders, not shareholders. Overfunded. You pay more than the minimum, so the cash value grows quickly. How it works. When you open a whole life insurance policy, let's say you're 35 and start with $500 a month. You intentionally pay more than required. This grows your cash value. 2. That cash value becomes your financial reservoir. By year 3-5, you can borrow from it to buy a car, invest in real estate, or fund emergencies. 3. You pay it back to yourself with interest. That interest goes back into your policy, growing it further. You're now the bank and the borrower. This isn't theory. This is what corporations and wealthy families already do. Case in point. Walt Disney used cash value life insurance to fund Disneyland's early construction. C. Penny used it to save his business during the Great Depression. Banks themselves hold billions in BOLI, bank-owned life insurance, for the same reason. Why it works: tax-free growth, cash value grows without tax. No market risk, it doesn't crash like stocks. Privacy, loans from your policy don't show up on your credit report. Control, you decide when to borrow, how to repay. Real-life example. Meet Sarah, a 40-year-old teacher in Ohio. She funds her policy with $6,000 a year. By year 5, her cash value is $25,000. When her car breaks down, she takes a $10K loan from her policy. No paperwork, no bank. She pays herself back over 3 years, earning dividends the entire time. Meanwhile, her neighbors are paying 8% interest to a credit union. She's paying interest to herself. Your action steps. 1. Talk to a fee-only financial planner. Avoid insurance agents who push big commissions. Ask specifically about IBC-friendly policies. 2. Use a calculator. Model how much cash value you'd have in 5, 10, 15 years. Look up infinite banking calculators online or consult a planner. 3. Start with intent. Don't buy insurance just for death benefits. Use it as a cash management tool, and only borrow for productive uses, buying assets. Starting a business. Emergency buffer. Not for buying a TV. Think of infinite banking like planting a... Part 4. The legal shields of the wealthy. Why the rich never own anything directly. Ever wonder why the ultra-wealthy never seem to lose anything, even after lawsuits, divorces, or market crashes? It's because they've built layers, legal moats around their wealth. They do own their money directly. Their entities do. Think of it like this. If your wealth is a castle, then these structures, trusts, LLCs, and accounts, are your walls, guards, and escape tunnels. Most Americans just have a checking account. The wealthy, they have an infrastructure, tools of the elite, revocable living trusts. Avoid the long, expensive court process called probate when someone dies. Keep assets private and pass them smoothly to heirs. Still lets you control everything while alive. Example, Emily, a 55-year-old nurse, puts her home and savings into a revocable trust. When she passes, her kids avoid 6-9 months of probate and $10,000 in legal fees. 2 LLCs, limited liability companies. Used to hold assets, especially rental properties or small businesses. Shields your personal assets if someone sues the business. Scenario: you rent out a basement apartment. A tenant slips. If you own it personally, they sue you. If it's under an LLC, they sue the business, not your home or car. 3. UTMA accounts, Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. A legal way to give kids assets now without triggering gift tax. You control it until they turn 18 or 21, varies by state. Smart use. Put $2,000,5,000 each year into a UTMA invested in index funds. By the time your child's 21, they might have a college fund or seed money to start a business. Bonus layers the elite use. Holding companies. These own other businesses or properties. Used to simplify taxes and reduce liability. Irrevocable trusts. Can't be changed easily, but offer stronger protection from lawsuits or estate taxes. Foundations. Let billionaires donate money, write off taxes, and still control how it's spent. You can create mini versions, DAFs, as mentioned in Part 1. Practical moves for regular folks. Start small, here's how. 1. Create a revocable trust. Many online legal tools like LegalZoom or Trust and will offer templates. Expect $200, $500. 2. Form an LLC. Use your Secretary of State's website. Costs around $50, $300 depending on your state. Perfect for Airbnb, Etsy, freelance, or property. 3. Open a UTMA/UGMA account. Fidelity and Charles Schwab both offer these with no minimums. 4. Gradually layer. As your assets grow, add another structure. You don't need everything now, but building early prevents expensive mistakes later. Rich people don't avoid taxes or lawsuits because they're lucky. They build structures that keep money in the family, protect it from risk, and move it across generations, quietly and legally. You can do the same, just one layer at a time. So let's zoom out. We started in ancient Rome, where the rich didn't just donate, they invested in image, power, and influence. Then we followed the Rothschilds, who mastered cross-border money, information warfare, and long-game infrastructure investing. We fast-forwarded to modern infinite banking, quietly used by the elite to control their own lending and spending. And we finished with the legal chessboard, trusts, LLCs, and holding companies, the invisible armor protecting real wealth from taxes, lawsuits, and chaos. But here's the uncomfortable question. What if the system was never designed for you to win? What if the financial game has always been rigged? Not illegally, just invisibly. Rules passed down through legacy and lawyers, not public school. Well, the good news, you just found the playbook. Your challenge, don't just nod along. Take one of these elite strategies and make it real. Set up a donor-advised fund and redirect your taxes to causes you actually care about. Research overfunded life policies and explore infinite banking with a planner. Or build your financial firewall. Form an LLC or set up a simple revocable trust to protect your home and family. You don't have to do it all today, but start something this week. Because the longer you wait, the deeper the gap gets. Subscribe for more real talk on hidden history, conspiracy economics, and wealth-building tactics the schools forgot to teach you. Comment below which elite strategy surprised you the most. Or have you already used one? Share your story. Let's learn together. Thanks for watching The Budget Boss US. We're not just making sense of the system, we're flipping the script. Because when you understand the past, you can finally take control of your future.